Some films don't just show youth, they remember it. Stand By Me, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and Perks of Being a Wallflower all look back at growing up through nostalgia and reflection. Each one captures youth as something we only truly understand in hindsight. In this video, I'll explore how youth films act as records of generational experience, capturing not just adolescence, but how each era remembers growing up. Through their distinct styles, point of view shots, narration, colour palettes, and tone, these films use nostalgia not just as a theme, but as an aesthetic language. A way of seeing ourselves, not as we were, but as we remember being. Stand By Me begins with reflection, not action. Gordy's narration immediately frames everything we see as a story being remembered, coloured by emotion, not by fact. The golden tones and soft lighting of the Oregon landscape give the film a dreamlike quality. This is a stylistic nostalgia. Lens flares, dissolves, and long dissolves between scenes simulate the blurring of memory. The camera often stays close to Gordy's face, blurring the background. This creates subjectivity through focus, the world seen not as it is, but as a child remembers it. In the train bridge sequence, the handheld camera and low angles exaggerate the danger. It's fear as experienced, not as recorded. As theorist Svetlana Boym calls it, this is reflective nostalgia, not an attempt to return to the past, but to understand it. The final image, Gordy finishing his story, reminds us that remembering is itself a creative act. Through writing, framing, and editing, Gordy reconstructs youth into story, turning experience into style. In Stand By Me and The Perks of Being a Wallflower, the camera takes on a deeply personal point of view. We're not just watching their youth, we're inside it. The POV shots mirror how memory feels. Unstable, emotional, more about sensation than fact. By aligning us with a character's vision, both films turn cinematography into recollection, translating the private experience of remembering into something visual and sensory. Each film uses style to evoke nostalgia in its own way. Stand By Me softens its world with amber tones and slow dissolves, nostalgia as melancholy. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, in contrast, celebrates it with bright, hyper-real colour and direct address, nostalgia as rebellion. These stylistic choices reveal nostalgia as more than a mood. It's a cinematic language, a spectrum of tone and texture, from quiet reflection to defiant joy, all filtered through the lens of youth. This nostalgic tone also reflects each film's cultural moment. Ferris Bueller's Day Off captures 1980s youth culture, confident, suburban, and self-aware. Its slick editing and fourth wall breaks turn adolescence into performance.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
2 decades later, The Perks of Being a Wallflower reworks these tropes through emotional honesty, showing how remembering youth also means confronting its pain. In this way, each film becomes an archive of its era's fantasies about youth, a reflection not of teenagers themselves, but of how culture wants to remember them. Each film also makes storytelling part of its style. Gordy writes to preserve what time erased. Charlie writes to understand what it meant. Ferris talks to the camera to hold on to the moment before it ends. These voices remind us that memory is never objective, it's performed. In youth cinema, storytelling becomes an act of remembrance, and style becomes the memory's form. Stand By Me, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and Ferris Bueller's Day Off all remind us that cinema doesn't just depict youth, it recreates the act of remembering it. Through their use of point of view, tone, and colour, these films transform nostalgia into a visual language, translating memory into movement. In this sense, the youth film isn't simply a genre, but a stylistic mode, one where film form itself becomes a way of remembering. Ultimately, these films suggest that youth in cinema isn't just an age or a theme, but a mode of representation, one defined by looking back, by how style itself carries the weight of remembering, of nostalgia.